Okay, so welcome. Oh dear. All right, so quick review of the agenda. For the first 5 minutes, we'll go over the meeting logistics, ground rules, and then we will end our meeting objectives. After that, we will have the presentation of the McLeod Pit project, as well as where we are in the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission process and the California Environmental Quality Act process. And then after that, we will have time for our public comments. We will, apologies, my times are off by 30 minutes here, whoops. We'll adjourn at 1 p.m. Unless there are no more comments, and then we can end early. So real quick, the logistics and the ground rules. As I said, this meeting is being recorded and being transcribed by a court reporter. Please hold all questions and comments to the end of the presentation. And if you're not speaking, please keep your microphones muted. If you're not muted, we will mute you ourselves. If you would like to speak, as Erin said earlier, please raise your hand or use the chat. Or if you are joining us via phone only, you can press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute yourself. So when you do begin your question or comment, please state and spell your name for the court reporter. And if anyone demonstrating unprofessional language will be removed from the meeting. So please be respectful of everyone. And finally, we will have about 3 to 5 minutes per person, depending on how many people want to make comments. If we have extra time after our first round of comments, people can have more time, and then we'll just go from there. So our meeting objectives today, we're going to provide an overview of the McLeod Pit hydroelectric project, discuss the FERC and CEQA processes, and then solicit comments on the notice of preparation. So the McLeod Pit hydroelectric project. It is FERC project number 2106. It's owned and operated by the Pacific Gas and Electric Company. It's located in Shasta and Siskiyou counties, but only a very small portion is in Siskiyou County. So it's mostly located in Shasta County. It's made up of 3 developments. There's the James B. Black development, Pit 6 development, and the Pit 7 development. So these next slides will have maps where we'll go over all the project facilities. So this is just a physical location of the project. The James B. Black development starts with the McLeod Reservoir, McLeod Dam, through the McLeod Tunnel into Iron Canyon Reservoir, and then from Iron Canyon Dam into the James B. Black Powerhouse. So that is the James B. Black development. There's also a number of all the project campgrounds are in this development as well. As you can see, there's the Pit 5 powerhouse right next to the James B. Black powerhouse. That is part of a different PG&E project. So the next development is the Pit 6 project. There's just the Pit 6 reservoir, Pit 6 dam, Pit 6 powerhouse. After that, you have the Pit 7 development, which is the Pit 7 dam and reservoir and powerhouse, and then a few rec sites around there as well. So there's the physical locations of everything. This here's a diagram of all the facilities in the project, as well as some of the upstream facilities and how water moves. So water is diverted from the McLeod Reservoir, which is on the McLeod Reservoir, into Iron Canyon Reservoir, which is then diverted into the Pit 6 Reservoir on the Pit River. So all of these blue shapes are project facilities. Everything that's just white are other PG&E projects that are upstream of this project. And then you can see at the very downstreammost end of the project, it discharges into Shasta Lake. So the FERC process to date. In 1961, FERC issued the original license for the project. And in July of 2009, PG&E applied for a new FERC license, which initiated the relicensing process. In January of 2010, PG&E then applied for a water quality certification from the State Water Board. And in February of 2011, FERC issued the final environmental impact statement for National Environmental Policy Act compliance, or NEPA compliance. So in California, as part of the FERC process, the applicant applies for a water quality certification from the State Water Board to certify that the project will be in compliance with water quality standards. The State Water Board prescribes conditions as a part of the certification, and these conditions are included in the final FERC license. And then a quick note on NEPA. NEPA is analogous to the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA. It's the federal law that requires a licensing agency to analyze project impacts to a number of different environmental and physical factors. So more recently, in November of 2019, the State Water Board Executive Director issued a final certification for the project. And happening concurrently with the FERC process is the CEQA process. In October of 2012, the State Water Board conducted informal consultation with responsible and trustee agencies, California Native American tribes, and the public. In May of 2019, the State Water Board released the draft initial study and negative declaration, or draft ISND, for public comment. In November of 2019, the State Water Board's executive director adopted the final certification and ISND. Shortly thereafter, December 2019, the board receives petitions for reconsideration of the certification and related litigation regarding the project in CEQA. So as a result of that, in December of 2020, the State Water Board's executive director issued this water quality order directing staff to conduct AB 52 consultation with California Native American tribes. AB 52 is a California law that requires CEQA lead agencies to consult with Native American tribes in the project area regarding potential impacts to tribal cultural resources. And a CEQA lead agency is just the state or local agency that conducts the CEQA analysis and prepares the environmental review document. So in this case, the State Water Board is the CEQA lead agency. In January of 2021, State Water Board staff began AB 52 consultation with the Winnemem-Wintu tribe. And then in March of 2022, which is now, the board issued the notice of preparation for a subsequent environmental impact report. So a subsequent environmental impact report is necessary if the lead agency determines that there is new information of substantial importance, which was not known and could not have been known at the time that the negative declaration was adopted. So basically, it shows that the project may cause significant impacts that were not previously identified. And the State Water Board staff determined that there may be significant impacts to tribal cultural resources due to project activities. This determination was made in light of new information that we received from the Winnemem-Wintu tribe after the negative declaration was adopted. So the board is seeking public input regarding the scope of the subsequent EIR, so what it should analyze, potential impacts that were not previously analyzed in the ISND, potential project alternatives that were not previously analyzed, or anything else related to preparation of a subsequent EIR. We are taking comments on the notice of preparation until Monday, April 11th. The deadline is at 5 p.m. You can email your comments to this email, which is WR401program@waterboards.ca.gov, or you can mail your comments to this address here. Email is preferred since our mailroom staff are still mostly working remote. And then, of course, a reminder that any comments made during this meeting will also be considered when developing the subsequent EIR. And if you would like to stay informed on the McLeod Pit project, you can subscribe to our water quality certification email list at this link here. So you will fill out the required fields, and I'll go over some screenshots in a second. And all of this information is in the notice of preparation as well. So you'll go to that webpage, you'll put in your email address and your full name. You don't hit subscribe yet. Before you hit subscribe, you go down to the water rights category, click on that. You select the water rights water quality certification box, which is the last one, very easy. And then you can hit subscribe up on this part right here at the top. And then you'll be subscribed to our email list. You will need to confirm that you want to be subscribed. You will receive a confirmation email once you do this. So make sure you reply to that. And then you will be on the board's email list for this project. So that was our presentation, pretty brief. So before we begin the public comment period, just a few reminders. Please raise your hand or put your name in the chat if you'd like to provide a comment. We will call on you and unmute you. If you are on the phone only, press *9 to raise your hand, and then you can press *6 to mute yourself. *9 will also put your hand back down, so please put that down once your comment is over. Once you're called on, please state your name and spell your name for the court reporter, and please finish your comments within the time frame allotted. Again, that's 3 to 5 minutes, at least for the first round of comments, depending on how many people are here. So if there are not that many commenters, you may be provided an additional opportunity to speak. So with all of that, we would like to first open the floor to any tribal representatives or legislative representatives if they are present. Not sure if I saw any on the participants list. All right.
Does anybody have a desire to make a comment today? You can raise your hand or put your name in the chat. If not, we'll have a very short meeting.
Yeah.
Any questions? Oh, there's someone with a hand raised. And if you could state your name and spell it for the court reporter, that would be greatly appreciated.
Hi, I actually have a question. My name is Regina Chicazola, C-H-I again, Z-O-L-A. And my question is regarding the scope of what we are allowed to comment on and not comment on. I understand that there's already been a certification issued, and now it's opened back up for a supplemental EIR. So I'm just not sure, is the scope of what we're allowed to comment on like the whole project, or is it specific to issues that the Winnemem-Wintu tribe brought up in their writ lawsuit, or not lawsuit, petition? Yeah, I'm confused on the process.
Yeah, so the scope of this is not the certification. The scope is the CEQA process. So if you have a comment about project impacts or the scope of the analysis that should be done with respect to the CEQA process, anything is open relative to evaluating the project through the CEQA lens. Does that answer your question, Regina?
Somewhat, but how does this impact what the water quality certification says? Like, are you gonna like amend it, or how is that gonna work?
So there's
Based on comments.
sort of two steps here. The first is the CEQA process. So we need to, right now we're doing a subsequent EIR with respect to impacts associated with the project. We also have pending petitions for reconsideration. So once we have the CEQA process, I don't want to say resolved, but moved forward, we will also need to then act on those petitions for reconsideration. But right now, this is just an NOP for the subsequent EIR associated with the CEQA document. That was a really good question, Regina. Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments?
And it was *9 to unmute on the, or to raise your hand on the phone.
Yes, *9 if you are on the phone and want to raise your hand. Well, just so folks know, we are having another scoping meeting this evening. It will include the same background presentation and opportunity for comment. So if there's someone else you think would be interested in it, there is another opportunity to hear the information. It will also be posted on our website and available in that manner as well. Any more questions or comments? Oh, there's another one. I think it's Regina.
Hi, I just have, my other question is, when the water quality certification was issued, it was PG&E's position that they didn't have to analyze any kind of mitigation or actions for the reintroduction of salmon above Shasta Reservoir, even though it was already written into a biological opinion at the time, because the salmon weren't there yet. Are we allowed to bring that issue back up in this process now, or is it the water board's position that that particular issue has already been dealt with?
So this is a wholly new, starting from scratch CEQA process. We are going to rely upon the information that we have available from the negative declaration to the extent that it's applicable. But that is, you're welcome to comment on that as part of your responses to the notice of preparation. Did that answer your question, Regina? I saw you muted, so in case you had another comment or follow.
Yeah, no, I think that answers my questions. Then I would ask, so is NOAA Fisheries then engaging with you on this? Do you know, or do we have to ask them if they're preparing comments then?
Yeah, I think you'd have to talk to NOAA about what their thoughts are at this point in time and whether they're planning to submit comments.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm going to take your hand being up as a legacy hand, Regina, unless you tell me otherwise. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Well, we're available if something comes up, and folks are also welcome to send us a comment or question with the information that Savannah provided earlier. She can go back up to the slide that has the comment deadline and how to submit comments, and we'll leave that up for a minute so folks can make sure that they have that information available. But otherwise, we'll go ahead and conclude the meeting if there are no additional comments or questions. Thanks to everybody for joining us today.
Thanks, everyone. And again, like Erin said, we're having another meeting at 5:30 p.m. today, if you'd like to rejoin or if there's someone else you think would like to join us. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and look forward to hearing from you all.
So we'll go ahead and end the recording and end the meeting. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your time.